$5,000 or some guys are gonna kill me.
Better get out of town, quick!
You ever hear of Joe Cooper? He's a cop, a detective actually. Got a little business on the side.
What's he do?
He kills people.
Camille Hirsch!
How you doing?
I'm a big fan of yours in both Milk and Speed Racer.
Oh, thank you so much.
Killer Joe is kind of part of a genre I like to call the poor bastard movie, where there's one guy, he just wants to do something, and everything goes completely wrong. What is it like to play a character who just can't get anything right?
I thought it was actually funny. You know, I always viewed Chris as just a comedic role. I don't know if everyone will see it like that, but when I was playing it, I was always laughing. Even in the most dramatic scenes, I was laughing on the inside to an extent, just because there's something so poor bastard about him, and he just keeps getting more and more screwed.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, there's something so funny about that to me. And part of it is that he deserves what comes to him because of these terrible choices that he's made in the beginning, you know? Trying to have your mother, put a hit out on your mother, giving your sister away, and being that selfish.
Matthew McConaughey, dear God, you're dapper.
Dapper.
You look fantastic.
Dressed for Killer Joe, man.
Absolutely. Are you allowed to eat that chicken?
You can. It's from last night, but you can sure eat it. It's all drumsticks and legs there.
It's going to be more delicious now that I've seen the film.
There we go. The first one. Everyone else says they're never eating fried chicken again.
Oh,
You're
no,
the first one that says, I want it now more.
More and more.
Good.
Now, Joe is such a logical, smart person, and he's thrust in with people who are completely over their heads.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like operating on a different wavelength than the rest of the characters in the film?
It was very hard, thankfully. You don't ever fall into someone else's rhythm or someone else's way of thinking. You know, Joe was not there to be friends with any of them. Joe was not there to get along. The only person that he had a connection with was Dottie. The rest of them, he thought, were on beneath him.
It is so nice to talk to you about Killer Joe. I think it's an excellent film. Gina, it's great to have you back in NC-17.
Where I belong. Yeah.
Aw! Well, you've made so many wonderful films that have a lot of pronounced sex as part of the story. And Killer Joe is now another one of those. Is that a coincidence?
You know, the whole NC-17 thing is, I totally don't get it, especially with, I remember for Showgirls and Bound, I really didn't get why, Bound ended up not being NC-17, but this one, I think it's not as much as the sex, I think it's the violence, which is, it's pretty gnarly.
It's just the combination of the two.
The combination of the two.
Yeah, because I think the US is less scared of violence than it is of sex when it comes to movies. Like if you look at movies that are in NC-17, all the violence in movies right now is kind of...
Oh, it's always been that way.
Yeah.
You could show a breast and it would be NC-17. If you cut it off, then they'd be like, oh, I mean, it's a PG. Who cares? I mean, the United States is a little bit
Well, it's
weird
also interesting growing up in England because a rated R movie is an 18 in England. So an NC-17 kind of doesn't exist in England, really.
If there's no rating or something.
Or
Right?
it just becomes porn.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It's like, you know, it's but all the movies that are rated R is here, you have to be 18 to go see in England. And then you have a 15, and then you have a PG-12, and then PG.
It's just, listen, I'm happy to be in a movie that's unapologetic, that is really visceral. It's such a visceral movie. Billy is such an incredible director. It's such, an amazing cast. Whatever they rated it, I don't care. I would have done it.
This is, I believe, your first NC-17 rated film. What was it like? Did your mother talk to you and say, are you doing porn now? Is anyone concerned about that? Is there any? What's the vibe like?
It's just, the vibe is just that it's NC-17, and that's sort of what it is. I haven't really talked to anybody about it or family or anything like that. It's just I didn't know it would be NC-17. I had no idea making the movie it would be NC-17.
Yeah.
But I don't really care one way or the other. It's just sort of the rating.
Well, it's excellent. All that is justified in the sexual content. Were you happy or disappointed that you got left out of many of the more intimate, weird scenes?
I think overall, I'd say I was happy to be left out of the chicken bone scene. I don't know if I would have wanted to have been Gina in that particular scene.
How many pieces of chicken did you go through?
One.
Just one.
Yeah. Oh, that was a one-take deal. I'm like, we're doing this in one take. Just show me where to go. Great. Let's do it. I don't want to think about it or talk about it ever again. Until now, of course.
Joe has to just speak very clearly to make sure they understand the rules. Do you understand? Give me confirmation. And then there are other times where he was putting things together on the side that they had no idea they had slipped up, you know? And so he's very, very keen. I was very much a character where I was an island unto myself. And that's very fun because everything's in. My work on this was going inside, not outside, until the third act, until the chicken comes around. You know what I mean? Everything before then is just, everything's underneath. Everything about Joe is like, it's a shadow. There's a lot about shadow and light. Joe's always in the shadow, so when does he reveal himself in the light?
It's a kinky film. Is it okay to be turned on?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Whatever raises your skirt. One man's appetite's another's indigestion.
I can't let you have her.
The retainers for the money. I'm not leaving until I get my money. You know I'll kill you. It smells heavenly. Who would like to say grace?